All right, guys, addendum to the devil's details. And this is what we'll call an origin story of how functional feeding, Janelle's nutrition, counseling, coaching, whatever you want to call it with that, how this came into being. And it is Dan's perspective on this. Why am I doing this? One, because frankly, I like to talk to the camera more than my wife does. And two, because I firmly believe, guys, there's no product we offer that has more depth and validity to it than what she's doing. And that doesn't mean it's always going to be for everybody, in the same sense that I don't think CrossFit is ever going to be for everybody. You guys know, I don't think there's a more effective training method out there than the CrossFit methodology. It is never going to be for everyone for a lot of reasons that I'm not getting into now, but have in the past. I would say the same for functional feeding. Diet, and you guys that have done functional feeding know this. Working out in the gym for that 1 hour is hard. Eating cleaner and more disciplined is way harder. Way harder. And there's so much emotion tied up in it. There's so much, we play mental games with ourselves. We mess ourselves up in the head over it. It is so much harder than working out in the gym. And taking on that task with somebody, if it's going to not just be fluff and marketing, is going to be a challenge. There's no way it's not. And I think the way we do it is truly unique. I don't know anybody else that is as sincere and puts as much effort into it as Janelle does. And I just want to give my perspective on that. Let me back up, provide a little context to this about how Janelle and I do things with the gym. We took a joint personality test together sometime back, over a year ago. You may think that's nerdy. I am fortunate that I have a wife that thinks that's kind of fun too. And you have to be willing to go into that and know it may bring up some uncomfortable things, it may say things in a certain way you don't like looking at. For us, I don't think there were any big surprises. It did do a lot of confirming and being like, yes, this is where we tend to have conflict, this is where we get along, and it helps kind of enunciate and clarify why. Let me say a couple things. As a group of beings, men tend to be a little bit more disagreeable than women as a group. Having said that, Janelle is kind of on the disagreeable side for women. She knows this, we can acknowledge this. I tend to be more on the agreeable side for men. And in a couple other ways too, frankly, Janelle had some traits that were somewhat more common in men, and I had some traits with my variety, somewhat more creative side and that kind of stuff that were more common in women. So if I can summarize that, Janelle is kind of a manly girl and I am a girly man. And I actually think it works great for us. I think we are able to meet in the middle and provide unique perspectives to each other that allow us to contend with each other on ideas and come out with really good topics. And I am not going to say this hasn't come with, it has come with growing pains, but it's awesome when it works out. And I think there are unique challenges with it, and there are truly unique benefits that make me want to keep getting better at this with her. And I will say, you guys know there's a couple themes of mine. One, use it or lose it. In general, as you get older, anything you want to be able to do in life, you need to keep doing or you won't be able to do it. Another is, what have you done for me lately? I very much believe in that. I don't care how long we've been good at stuff in our marriage. We need to keep working at it and not take it for granted. In the same way at the gym, I think we have a very good culture at the gym. I'm never going to take that for granted, and I think I need to be working on that daily and with every situation that comes up. It's a plant, it grows roots, it becomes stronger, but if you start neglecting it and taking it for granted, it will go away very quickly. And so while we work together on stuff, and have gotten way better at it over the years, we're going to keep getting better because I don't take that for granted, and I know she doesn't either, and we're going to keep working at it. And there's some benefits to this. Let me explain. You've all had coworkers or bosses that you didn't get along with or you found annoying. You couldn't just get them to see things how you saw things. You probably didn't want to have sex with that person. And if I can be frank, I want sex with me to be something Janelle gets to do, not something she has to do or is supposed to do. And I put the responsibility for that on me to put her in a get-to kind of mindset. And let me just say, when you've been married a long time, I'm talking out of my ass here a little bit, But when you're dating, the cheap thrills, the jokes, the nice things you can do, it's all very superficial, shallow, and easy. Janelle knows me inside and out. She's seen me at my worst. She's seen me at my best. She sees me day in, day out. If I'm doing something that's really annoying or really gross or whatever, it's probably going to make her not be in a get-to mindset when it comes to being intimate with her husband. I want her to be in a get-to mindset, so I put that on me. And so I say that was a little bit of a rabbit hole. Maybe shows where my brain's at. But along those same lines, if you've ever been in a really good meeting at work where you got a lot done, you probably didn't end up having sex at the end of that meeting. That is an option when you work with your spouse, and that's really cool. Going down that road, I came to her with the seed of an idea for functional feeding. And I will say it blossomed immediately, because again, I didn't come with this on my own. I'd heard a podcast and I was like, hey, I like the idea of this. And immediately Janelle was like, yep, and I know the app we're going to use. It's really easy. I've been looking into this. I know how we're going to do it. We talked about how we were going to roll it out. Of course, things have evolved over time, but right away this was up and rolling, because both of us have been very unsatisfied with our previous nutrition counseling challenge efforts. And I will say, I don't think they were bad. I just think they were temporary. And that's what I will see. Guys, I don't know of any other way out there. I know nutrition coaches. I know of products. I know of even people that might be somewhat sincere. I don't see anybody making permanent changes to people's way of living and diet. They may do it for a while, 6 months, 9 months, maybe even a year. But 4 years down the road, you're not eating easily and foundationally better than you were at this point. I don't see anybody making those kind of changes, because those changes are hard and there's no fast cookie cutter way to do that. That is on an individual case by case basis, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time behind the scenes too. And I don't think there's many people that are willing to do that, that have that kind of passion and zeal for it that Janelle does, that it takes to make these kind of changes with each person and deal with all the emotion and mental aspects of this. Janelle is. And in the same way, that's just why it's such a good match, that I am so passionate about programming and running a good gym. And you guys see this, you know it's not fake. I'm not perfect at it, but you know that I'm trying hard at it, and I get better all the time because I'm putting effort into it. When people who have worked with Janelle, she's looking up the ingredients at restaurants. She's looking at the ingredients of every new product you send her, and she's getting into it. She's spending time. I know people in this industry. I don't know anybody else doing that. They're basing a lot of their decisions on assumptions, on previous education, which is not bullshit. But they're not taking that time and diving into these things and sweating, how do I make this person do it better? They have cookie cutter methods, they have cliche answers, and they're not trash, but they're not tailored to this person. Janelle's thinking about each person in functional feeding, how to get that person to do it, and she's sweating it. And let me say, guys, along those lines, you guys know this, and I grew up in a religious family, so I'm very familiar with guilt and how destructive guilt is and how it makes you not want to do anything. And there is so much guilt we have on ourselves about food, and we project that onto others, saying they're doing it to us. They're making us feel guilty. And they're not most of the time, guys, and I can tell you Janelle's not. You're making yourself feel guilty. And I get that. It's hard not to. I do the same thing. But those kind of mind games make this so much more complicated and difficult than what we do in the gym, where it's just come in and, can I do the power cleans today or can I not do them? Yeah, I know there's days where there's other stuff on your brain, but you get so much easier to set that aside and do it. Diet never goes away. It's day in, day out. It's there with you when you wake up. It's there with you when you go to bed, and it's constant. And it's hard to get a wrap around this. And I can tell you, like, for myself, I think I eat pretty good, especially because I have Janelle at home cooking for us. How I eat compared to Janelle, I'm a slob, complete slob. And I need to get better. I can get better. It is hard for me. But this is where I will say why I think she's so good at this. Whether she was doing functional feeding or not, Janelle is the most disciplined eater I have ever seen. And I've been in this industry a long time. I've seen other people that eat disciplined. She is religious with it, and she enjoys that. And good for her. She's very fortunate that way, but it didn't happen. This is something that happened since I've known her. So she wasn't always like this. She became like this. And this is why I think she can pass on to others how you can be better for you on this. How you can get better in a way that, again, I'm not saying you're ever going to be on Janelle's side of things. I don't think you are, frankly, because it's very rare. But you don't need to be. You can be way better with knowing how to make good choices. And guys, we put in so many roadblocks on ourselves. We make this more complicated than it needs to be. I know Michael Taylor is very refreshing on this. How can I eat donuts and drink beer and still be lean and healthy? We're all looking for that solution. And so I know when you find the new healthy donut, this donut has protein in it and it's awesome. Still a donut, guys. And if you want to eat it, man, eat it. And that's cool. Just know you're eating a donut. Don't pretend like I'm eating the special protein donut. Yeah, okay, there's protein in it. It's still a donut. And so I say that with the fact that it is really hard. It is not complicated. It is really hard. But still with you, which each of us, some of us like to eat meat more than others. We like fish more than others. I like veggies more than Janelle. There's different ways to do this for each person. And she'll spend the time doing that with you and kind of pulling out of you what works and what doesn't. It takes time. It takes honesty. It takes information to do that. And even just the fact of journaling food, and you guys that have done this know, just doing that is nerve-wracking. Because you're kind of pointing a light on everything you do during the day, and we tend to block stuff out and forget a lot of what we do. I know this. I was talking to somebody the other day. I journal everything I spend a dime on. I have a little notepad in my phone, and I journal everything I spend money on. And it sucks. I've been doing this for years, and it's gotten better because a lot of times I had forgotten all the different things I'd spent money on that it didn't get me anywhere. It didn't do anything for me. Shining a light on that was nerve-wracking for me, but then I could see I was making progress. And that's what journaling food is. It's nerve-wracking, but then in real ways you can see when you're making progress, and Janelle can provide meaningful feedback to you, not just this is how I feel. Let's look at what's been happening, and then we can in the future better gauge what might happen with the same kind of details and the same kind of actions. So let me just say, this is a product I think is truly unique and somewhat revolutionary. And I know I couldn't do it the way Janelle does it. She's the right person for the job. And that's when I think, same for me with what I do at the gym, when you find people that have a huge passion and have the skill set necessary to do this job, and they love that job and they can find that niche, that's when you find success in life. And that's what I think all of us are looking for and really fortunate when we find. And a lot of times that can be a winding path to get to that. I'm getting a little philosophical again. That's going down another road. So long story short, that is my origin story about functional feeding and my somewhat advertisement for it. We'll see how good a job I did and if I ever get to have sex again. Right on, guys. I'll talk to you later.